Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny Carr. I'm the Programs Director for Courage Beyond, a program of Centerstone Military Services. And with me, I have Pamela Jacobs. And she's here today to talk about improving our response to sexual assault and domestic violence, a course designed for mental health professionals who are looking to, as the title suggests, improve their response to the clients that they may see coming to them. So with that, I will turn it over to our esteemed advocate, Pamela Jacobs.
Thank you, Jenny. All right, everyone, I'm going to share my screen with you here. We have just a few slides to give you a little bit of an overview of what we talk about in improving our response. As Jenny said, this is a workshop offered by Courage Beyond that is intended for mental health professionals, counselors, advocates who work with survivors of sexual assault and also domestic violence. All right, so just 1 second, I apologize while we get this pulled up. So while this is pulling up, I'll just tell you a little bit about kind of my background. I've worked with survivors of sexual assault and domestic violence for about 15 years as an advocate and also as an attorney. I'm not a mental health professional, so in this workshop, we're not offering new therapeutic options for the work you're doing with clients, but instead information, education, things that can complement the work that you are doing with survivors of sexual assault and domestic violence, and in particular, survivors who are in the military community. Okay, so I think the screen sharing is working. All right, so again, to give you a little bit of an overview of what we'll be talking about in this workshop, we talk about the statistics, the prevalence of sexual assault and domestic violence really briefly, the fact that 1 in 3 women has been affected by these epidemics, and also we know that men are victims of these crimes as well. And we start off looking at domestic violence and the fact that domestic violence is about so much more than physical violence, that it's a pattern of abusive behavior. We look at what that pattern entails, what those tactics are that are utilized by an abusive partner. We also get into why victims may behave the way that they do, why victims may make the choices that they do, so that when you're working with a victim of abuse, you can understand some of those behaviors and help them move forward and heal. And then most importantly, of course, we look at the fact that the real person whose choices we need to be addressing is the abuser. And we look at what causes domestic violence, what causes someone to be violent or controlling in their relationships, as well as, since we're talking about our military community, what are some of the differences between post-traumatic stress, traumatic brain injuries, combat stress? What do those issues look like, and how can we distinguish them from abusive behavior? We also will look at sexual, and I apologize for the animation on that slide, the prevalence of this issue, how frequently the clients that we're seeing will have been impacted by sexual violence in some way, and then how it impacts them. Some questions that we commonly hear from people, such as why would a victim not fight back? Why can't they remember what happened? Why don't people believe victims? And why should we always believe victims of trauma, and in particular of sexual assault? We'll look at how sexual assault impacts the brain, impacts our memory storage, and some of the behaviors that you may see in survivors after this kind of trauma, in particular how they may be impacted by triggers. Lots of different things that could be triggering for them, and the specific triggers that may come up for people in our military community. We'll look at survivor behavior, whether that's a survivor of abuse or of sexual assault, ways that they may act out, and ways that they may also punish themselves after experiencing this kind of trauma. Since, of course, our goal is to make sure that we can help people heal, we'll talk about how we can get into that trauma bubble, how as helping professionals we can gain the trust of the survivors of trauma with whom we're working. And then I'll give you some conversation starters, some things you can do to earn that trust, some ways that you can build compassion and empathy with these survivors that you're working with. And then we finish off the workshop by reminding you that you matter, that the work you're doing matters, that you deserve to take care of yourselves as well. And we'll look at things like preventing vicarious and secondary trauma, ways that you can take better care of you so that you can continue to do the work that is so incredibly important and that matters so much to our military community. You'll hear me in every single class end with the most important things to say to a survivor, so you will certainly see that again. I hope that you'll join us for this class. If you're interested, if you have any questions at all, please send me an email at pamela.jacobs@couragebeyond.org. And the way that you would sign up is to go to couragebeyond.org, services, currently enrolling, and then look for the Improving Our Response link. Again, please let me know if you have any questions. This is really a course focused on making sure that we're providing the best possible services for the folks in our military community who have been impacted by sexual assault and domestic violence. So I hope that you will join us. Again, please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.